So after last week of getting absolutely fucked on the markets and damn near thinking I wasn't built for this shit, I decided over the weekend that I needed to make some massive changes to my trading. And not the changes to my trading strategy, like going from what I trade to a whole new ICT concept, but just something simple, something to systemize my trading so that I understand what I'm doing, when I'm doing, and more importantly, why the fuck I'm doing. So in this video, we're gonna go over the two massive changes that I made. It's a lot of changes, but I think it's just two mainly. We're gonna go over them and then we're gonna see how it helped or harmed me for the week. And I'm telling you, after watching this video, I think you definitely are gonna take away one, if not two, of these massive changes because, spoiler alert, it drastically changed my trading. Now, for the better or for the worse, you're about to find out. Okay, we're gonna have a little one-on-one talk. Okay? Last week was absolutely horrible for me. I lost all my funded accounts and blew pretty much 5 evals, and I lost a bunch of potential money. We had to change that this week. Now, the first change that I made was I decided that I needed, well, I didn't decide this. I realized that everything in life, literally, that I'm progressing in is because I have a system in play. Now, in the gym, I don't like to think I'm the fittest motherfucker in the gym, but I will say I have gotten a lot better. My progress in my body has gotten a lot better. Why? Because I go to the gym 3 times a week and I track my calories. I have a system in play for that. The same thing with this YouTube channel. I know it's not growing to anything massive, but we did reach 500 subscribers, which was a massive goal for me. Why did this happen? Because I have a system in play to try and upload 3 videos a week. I have a system in play for how I'm recording these videos, how I'm editing these videos, and how I'm uploading these. I have a system in place. So I noticed and I realized that the things that I'm progressing in life has a system behind it. When I looked at my trading, it had no fucking system behind it. I realized because I had such a big bankroll to kind of use on these prop firms, I was getting hella aggressive. And honestly, there was no system to it. Now that I think about it. So Saturday, I had to sit down and I had to realize that, like, okay, cool, I might want to systemize everything. And I first need to start with my trade. What does my trades look like? Now, this doesn't look like changing my trading strategy. No. We're not doing that bullshit. But this looked like identifying or clarifying what my strategy looks like a lot more. And it's gonna be pretty hard to see, but I'm gonna try and make it easy for you to see by using this handy dandy camera. You see that back there? That is literally my strategy written out on whiteboard. I decided that I needed to systemize it from exactly what I was looking for to exactly, if you look on the right hand corner, right, what my trade management system is. And if I zoom in a little bit more, you'll see that I even have a little section for hard lessons, which I am going to write. But one of the biggest hard lessons that I learned last week was stop fucking shorting at all-time highs, you fucking idiot. Sorry, I get really aggressive when it comes to myself. And then there's another setup that I have in play that I'm still working with. As you can see, I am writing out everything to easily identify these setups when I am trading. That is a goal. Exactly with the trade management. Same thing. I'm writing this shit out. I gotta start taking trading a little bit more serious, and if I may say, as I kind of, excuse me, sorry, get back in. Come here. There we go. I zoom out a little bit. Oh, zoom out. There we go. I forgot what I was saying. Regardless, the first change that I did was I was systemizing my trade. Now, after I systemize it and I know what I'm looking for, maybe I should show you what I'm looking for. Wait, did I show you what I'm looking for? Don't worry. One of the biggest things that you'll notice as you watch this is you'll notice that I'm starting, like, my trade variance, like the variance in my setup is starting to get closer and closer and closer to a fucking mean, or they're starting to look a lot alike. And I'm starting to identify a lot more what my setup looks like, as I have 2 of them, but one of them mainly, right? The second big change that I made was using a daily report card. If you're a trader who's on YouTube frequently and who has probably more of 100 hours of watch time when it comes to like trading educational content, you know who Lance Brightstein, whatever his name is. We'll call him Lance B. You know who Lance B is, or at least you've heard of him. So Lance B was this trader that was at S&B Capital, which is essentially a proprietary trading firm, not like the prop firm we know, but one that's down there in New York on the Wall Street area. And he made a lot of money with them. One of the biggest things that he said was the biggest help to his trading journey was doing a daily report card. And I thought if it worked for him, maybe it worked for me. So that was the second thing that I implemented, a daily report card. Now, as you can see here, it's a lot going on, but holy shit, holy fucking shit. I'm sorry, I curse a lot, but the amount of progress that I made over this week from my trading strategy has been astronomical. I mean, I can't believe how, well, I mean, I guess you could say, duh, right? But like, I can't believe how helpful it is to review your trading sessions afterwards. I sound like an absolute idiot, but you understand the point. Now, let's look into this really quick, right? The daily report card. And there's a bunch of videos on there online about it. Lance even has a video on himself on how he uses it. But I decided to take his and kind of configure it to work best for me. And what you should do with everything when it comes to trading, because trading is not a copy and paste type of thing. You gotta copy something, but you gotta get your own experience with it for it to be like useful. So I was doing this every single day. I would start the morning, I would read the reminders, and these are all reminders are just hard ass lessons that I have to learn from being a hard ass, right? I'd every single morning have the definition of my setup, and as we'll see as the week goes on, that my definition gets more and more refined, right? I would, while in the session, grade how each segment of my trading session is going. Given the fact that I only trade an hour, I would split it up into 30-minute segment, and I would grade how each one of them are going. And then after the session, I would write out what I learned, right? Wow, sorry, that stutter was fucking crazy. What piqued my interest, right? I would write it out, and I would like not use it immediately, but bring my awareness to it. And like, even like from yesterday, right? One of the biggest things is I was talking with a friend, and we was talking about the correlation between NQ and some of his big movers like Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, and Google. The next day, I have it on my chart. You'll see in the video, in the film. But the next day, I have it on my chart, so not to use it immediately, but to just start making observations with it. So I can put more information here, which I will after watching the film from today, which I still got to do, but I have to make this video for you first. And then like, the biggest thing of every change or every improving trader is what changes are you going to need to make. Like, learning knowledge has no power unless it's applied. So this segment like helped me identify like what changes do I need to make for the day. And then I would literally review every trade, which is something that like I feel like is so rudimentary, which basically means is a fancy word of saying basic. It's so basic that it should be done. And when we're looking to improve as traders, it's always the first thing on our mind. Trading journal, writing out, reviewing, all of this stuff. But then somewhere along the way, I lost the motivation to do this. And hence why my results has kind of suffered, because I'm not improving. And if anything, I'm backsliding. And I seen like as the weeks gone by, I had a really good March. In April, 3 weeks, back to back profitable weeks. And then soon the last week is April, the backslide. Like I could literally see as I was backsliding, so was my profit. And my profit was a really good indication of this, which is rare as fuck, that I was backsliding and lost it all on the last week. But that last week didn't start Monday. It started from the beginning of the month when I stopped taking shit serious and I started backsliding. So given the fact now I'm doing this every day, I'm also like to show you guys this as well too. I'm also running experiments. Hold on, let me fill this out. Sorry guys. Basically what this is right now I have a partial system, and a system where I take partials at 10 points and then let the full trade off at 20. I'm trying to see if this partial system is actually helpful and saving me from a bunch of losses, or it's costing me money. And I'm actually running experiments for that. I did not do that before. So like, I'm saying all this to say that if I have such a big lofty goal, I need to do like so much. I don't even like using this quote, but it makes sense. Alex Hormozi has this quote where he says, do so much work or effort to the point where whatever you're trying to achieve almost become impossible not to. If you're trying to make one sale, let's use sales here because this is my forte here. If you need to make one sale, making to offer 10 people is cool. Making to offer of 100 people, pretty good. But making an offer to 500 people, depending on what you're selling, almost guarantees that you make a sale. That's what I need to remember. As I need to give as much effort as possible to the point where this goal of 73,000, based on my behavior and my action, almost becomes guaranteed. I put this at the beginning of the video because I really want, for whoever who decided to watch this, I really want this part of the video to be the part that you take away. Sure, we're gonna recap the trades, but this is the most valuable part of the video, and I decided I put it in front because this is what has helped me out the most. Spoiler, I've had a pretty good week, and I'm pretty sure conditions had a factor to play into it. But outcomes aside, if I just look at my performance in my trading, this has to be one of the best weeks I've ever had. Outcome aside, I will still say, okay, cool. If I look at my performance and how I was performing as a trader in the last 12 weeks, and I look at this week, and I'd be like, okay, cool. This week has been the best. Now let's get into the recap for this week. One day I did not trade. I literally showed up to the charts, watched the whole session, the whole, what was it? Not an hour, but 45 minutes that I was up on the charts. I was sitting there the whole time watching it, but I didn't see a setup that fit my criteria. And that's what I'm probably proud about the most. I didn't trade. I remember getting off that day feeling so ecstatic. But now coming Tuesday, as you can see, it was a good day. It was a winning day, of course. The first trade was what I call a DTB setup. A DTB setup stands for Delta Trend Breakout. I think I may have went over to my last video with my daily report card. But basically, what you'll start to notice as this week goes, kind of progresses, my DTB setup starts to lose its wide variance of what it could look like, starts to get narrowed down. The second trade was what I found as my second setup. It was my DRM setup. And now looking at the film, it's a picture perfect DRM setup. However, this day we took 2 trades and ended up with a profit of $784. Now, I had changed my whole eval situation. I'm now trading two micros, 2 minis on NQ. I used to trade 3 and be super aggressive, but I realized it was harming me more than helping. So I scaled back down to 2, and now instead of like trading 1 eval every single time, I am now copy trading. So I don't have to worry about like, oh, I need to pass this and rush eval. Now don't get me wrong, I don't want to be in an eval for a month, but if I have to, just to continue my good trading, that's what I will do, because I notice when I pass evals trading aggressively, I'm going to lose them in the fund, because in the funded I build no confidence, nor did I build any evidence, nor did I build any proof that I can maintain a consistent level of profitable trading in order to reach the payout buffer. The evals are the warm up to the funded account. Now keep in mind, of course, the funded account is phase 2, but I am not in the position to where I want to, or not even in position. I'm cool with that. I don't want to be burning through eval, not anymore. I want to be getting better as a trader. I want to look at the skill set, not the monetary anymore. So I'm going to take my time with it, which is kind of crazy to say because I'm risking $800 per trade, and somehow I have a feeling that these evals are going to be a lot longer when it comes to time, but that's okay. Let's see. So I totally expect us to bounce off of it here. Stop us out of break even, that'd be fine. Yeah, the fact that we didn't get that push right there just... that's disgusting. That's disgusting. I don't like that we started so strong at 152 and we couldn't see a steamroll push, but maybe I should have just listened to myself and not traded so close to this candle. Wednesday was my best trading day ever. Now you may look at it and be like, wait, didn't you lose 2 trades and only won 1? Yes, and I'm not talking about I'm not talking about results here on why it's the best. I call it the best trading day of the week because it was the days that I learned the most lessons. And there's 2 valuable lessons that I learned. The first lesson was that resulting is a thing. Now, if you don't know what resulting is basically, right? You make a decision, but because of the outcome of that decision, you determine the quality of the decision. So let's say you make a decision, like in this case, I made a decision to short, or no, that's not the right decision I want to look at. I made the decision to move my stops to break even after being literally probably 2 ticks away from my 10-point partial. However, price wicked all the way back to break even and stopped me out at break even. And then I know you don't see it in this trade, but then it continued to run 30 points. I said, in this case, fuck, that was a bad move. But I had to look at what was presented to me at that current moment. 1, volatility was extremely high for me. I'm talking about ATRs in the 35. 2, we were literally 2 ticks away from our 10-point take profit. Majority of the time, time it hits. And if it doesn't hit, do I really want to lose money on a trade, or do I really want to close a trade at a loss when we was up 9.75 points and I decided not to move my stop to break even and ended up losing 10 points on a trade? No. Why? Because that will result to tilt for me a lot more than taking a break-even trade. So in moments like this, I had to look at like the action itself. And sometimes, yeah, you could say you prematurely moved your stop. But in this case, you cannot determine an action's validity or validity. I think validity is the right word. Valid. Basically what I'm trying to say is you can't determine if an action is valid or not based off of one single event. You have to have a large enough sample size in order to determine its validity. I'm pretty sure I used that word properly. So that was the first big lesson that I learned. The second was don't trade a minute away from my hour open. I decided to take a trade at 9:59. I don't do that. But losing that trade taught me a very valuable lesson. And this kind of goes back to like the previous thing that I said, but I know off of intuition and experience alone that every time you take a trade 1 minute before hour open, you expose yourself to increased volatility because of that hour open. So you really expose yourself to more volatility risk. That's why I don't trade 1 minute before the 10 o'clock hour open. But I learned these two lessons. Fair. We'll take a trade though. So Thursday was also a really good day for me learning wise, mainly because I had made two lessons. One, I truly started to identify what my setup started to look like a lot more. And as you'll see on the first trade on Thursday and the only trade on Friday, they look exactly the same with just a little bit of nuance. And that's what I'm looking for. Clarity in my system. Now this was also another day where I decided to add something or kind of look at something else to see observations or correlations between pairs. I'll talk about this a little bit more after I've kind of did enough observation on it to see how helpful it is to me mainly, but we'll save that for a later time or a later video. Thursday stats, as you're seeing on both accounts here, was pretty much a break-even trade day with a little bit of variance to the downside, but it was pretty much a break-even trade day. So yeah. Good trade. Way to read that shit. Way to read that shit. Good shit, bro. God damn, what is red on that shit is fuck for 33. Friday is when everything came all together. Friday was pretty much a one and done trade day for me. But as you see, the setup on Thursday looked exactly the same as the setup on Friday. As I continue refining this setup, eventually one of these days, thank you, timer. I needed that. Eventually one of these days, I'll go over like what my strategy is. But I don't ever really find strategy videos like actually useful because at the end of the day, like it's tailored to me. And you're not, I don't know, to each his own, but I highly disbelieve or do not believe that you can take a strategy from YouTube and apply it immediately and it just starts working without you having to do any nuances, experiments, or testing of your own with your own experience. But that's neither here nor there. Friday on the account, so it was pretty much a one and done day on both accounts, and in a day with about pretty much total together an $1,100 profit on both eval. I am tired and exhausted, so I'm going to kind of cheap out on the outro here here, but I will say all of the most important parts of the videos are pretty much that whole starting segment. I really believe there's a lot of value in it, and it's helped me out a lot this week. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, you know the motto: be a problem solver, and see you guys next time. Until the last time.